Have you been experiencing that in the sort of communities and as a sort of thread?
I see kind of a contrast of those that are, you know, really focusing on their own life. They're very self-absorbed in I think in healthy ways, and then self-absorbed in maybe less healthy ways, in the sense that, you know, mindfulness includes what's happening in the world. You know, Thich Nhat Hanh talks about that. Like, if we're actually practicing mindfulness, we're not ignoring, you know,
Anything.
Anything really. So finding, you know, what's the relationship with allowing some of the information of the outside world, and like how much control we actually have to influence things or not. There's a spectrum of where I would say the mass purification and purging of collective trauma and density on our planet, that purgence is meant to actually access. We're supposed to have a personal process in relationship to some of this information. We're not separate from it.
Right.
Like what's happening to our planet is maybe happening in our bodies on some level.
Right.
Like you know, I hear tons of people with this weird cough, you know, but they're also chopping down, you know, tons of the Amazon. So this idea that all these things come from this separation, and so, you know, there's either these bubbles of niche culture that are very isolated from the actual impact of choices to the interconnectedness of the planet, or there's a much more focus on the front line, like hyper focus on activism or hyper focus on outward focus. So I see a lot of people way outwardly focused, and I see a lot of people like way internally focused, and I'd like to see a balance, you know, where the internal work informs right action. You know, right action not in a moral sense, but literally life will guide the most aligned choices that we can do to create the greatest positive impact. If we're coming from a fear response or reaction, it's not necessarily bad, it's just it may create more urgency, where if we find our center first, or we're letting the devastation of seeing a bunch of beached whales or an article on that, and we actually give ourselves permission to grieve, and then after we grieve there's a movement of energy, and then life says, well, what can I actually do about this? Like what choices can I make? Or am I just going to spin out in my mind and feel powerless and feel out of control, or like it's not worth it? Like all those feelings are actually a sacred part of each individual's journey of initiation in relating to this shift in consciousness on our planet. So